Okay, today I had a session with Brett from Elevate Dojo in Rhode Island. We did a Zoom call with a guy named Tim as well. We went over a number of things. There were a lot of stretches that we did that proves very clearly that my hips right here are not flexible. There's one where we were using the yoga mat and I was going down and I had to try to grab my ankle and stretch while, on the ground while the other foot was up. I couldn't do it. I had to grab my pant leg, so I really need to work on my stretching. But then we moved on to a few exercises that I wanted to get in video format while it was fresh in my head so I can remember it and practice it. So I did this about an hour and a half ago, 2.5 hours ago. And then, so I'm gonna talk about the hip exercise first. I'm gonna do this from the side. So what Brett was saying was keeping your back straight, putting your hands right here, bending at the waist. First we were bending at the waist here, getting the butt to stick out a bit, and you go until your legs are tight, and you know if your butt is not out far enough, if you're not getting a little bit of a wiggle and a shake in your leg. So you go to there, and then you tighten your glutes, and you stand back up. So we did that a number of times, about 10 times. And then we modified it a bit, where you go down, back straight, same way, sticking your butt out until your legs get tight and you get that little bit of that wobble, and then you go down into almost a sitting position, tighten the glutes, and standing up. I need to make sure my back stays straight. I think I was bowed a little bit there. That's a lot tougher. So you should feel it in your glutes as you stand up. And that motion, that tightness in your glutes is leads into the next bit where you do the exact same motion and you kick slowly, because if your legs aren't used to having this emphasis on power in your muscles and your tendons, they're I don't know much about the body, so excuse my explanation, but the tightness in the muscles, you could injure your knee if you kick too hard. So if your body's not ready for this, so if you're doing it right, you should get a lot more power. There, you dip down, and as you're coming up, that's when you throw out your kick. There. Now, ideally, there shouldn't be a ton of center line shifting. I shift because I haven't done this very much. I've got a lot to work on. I have to practice this over and over. The other thing that I noticed myself doing was I would compensate. My heel shifts a little bit to compensate some of my to some muscles that I'm used to using to throw out my kick. So for this exercise, there's a time and place for shifting that on the ball of your foot to generate some more power. For this exercise, Brett was asking that I keep my feet stationary here and just bend. Let me try that again. And I was going slow. I don't know if I was supposed to go this slow, but I was doing it nice and slow until I felt a wobble, go down into a sit, and then stand up. And a nice slow kick out to the front. I broke my center line a lot right there, but my kick felt nice and strong. My glutes were tight. So going over that. So that was the first exercise. I'm going to be practicing that a lot. The next thing we went over was our strikes. So he wanted us to start chambered, coming in with almost a check block and pretending there's a ball here, and you come in, you pull back here as you slide in against your body a bit and out, and then whip your hand. And you should feel a whipping motion, and this goes into some of the stuff that we talk about at the dojo about our strikes being loose until the very end, like you're flicking water off the tips of your fingers. So that was what this exercise that Brett was going over was helping with there. So, and I feel so much better with my right hand than my left. I'm right-handed. My left hand is a lot tighter on that. So that was the next thing we went over. So back and forth striking like that, making sure we're going to the proper position in front, not too high, but here. The last thing, well actually there are two more things that we went over. Continuing that flicking motion with different blocks or movements. So coming from here, a whipping motion with your hand, rotating your knuckles to where they are facing down, a downward angle. So we're working on the rotation of our hand in a whipping motion here. And we went from different heights, whipping your hands down, there, right? Another exercise for whipping the hands, we started up here, and we went down here, and here, like that. Here, whipping the hand, here, there. This one I feel super awkward with, but it's good wrist movement. Here, here. But another one we did was starting from a blocking motion here, rotating our hands here, outward. So we're not going to actually do our block like this, but going through a blocking motion here, keeping your hand rotated, and then coming around. So rotate, there, rotating, and each time we can go a little bit further. And then the next one was rotating your hand here, keeping that rotation here. And this is working, I can't remember the terms he used, something anterior rotation, and like I said, I don't know much about the body. So even taking the rotation and using your other hand to rotate it more, and going around in your normal block motion and here. And then from there, doing the normal block with those muscles, nice slow block, and you should feel yourself going into Sanshin, obviously, because we're working on that, but that this exercise felt good. It didn't feel overly different from how I normally do my blocks, except when we did the rotation, and there's a definite, I think, benefit to working whatever you're working in your body with those rotations. Brett obviously knows way more about that than I do. So I got a lot out of that session. It was interesting. I'm looking forward to more sessions. So that's what I have. Those are my notes from my head. So I can look back at this later. This isn't necessarily meant for anybody else but me, in the future me. Thank you.